It may have taken till the second to last episode, but I'm finally putting out my review for a Season 5 Star Trek Lower Decks episode on the day it drops on Paramount Plus. This is my review of Fissure Quest. So like I said, this is the second to last episode, and it's going to be a crazy finale from what I can tell, but I will be talking about spoilers, so let's discuss this episode. So we finally get to see what's going on with Boimler's transporter clone from way back early on. We finally get to see what he's doing. He doesn't say the organization he's working for. It's Section 31, guys. But they're actually doing something good for a change. Basically, William Boimler has been tasked with closing all the fissures. So he's been traveling the multiverse, and he's sick of it. Basically, because it's all a rehash of the stuff he already knows. This episode, by the way, is clearly a commentary on stories using multiversal universe storytelling. There's a lot to be said about that, but I'll save that for a different section of this review. But I just wanted to make sure I put it out there in case I forget. So the episode opens up. We learn about, his crew. His first officer is apparently T'Pol, from a universe where Trip never died, or at least didn't die as soon. And his helmsman is Curzon Dax, from before the Dax Symphony was given to Jadzia in a different universe. Basically, most of his crew is all alternate universe. So in the post credit scene, I guess, in wherever, way back when we saw him get sent off somewhere, there was other people on that ship. So what happened to them? Oh, and the doctor is Garrick, and is married to a holographic Bashir. Specifically, emergency medical hologram Bashir. You can't make this up. Well, you can because it's all fiction. And then a shuttle comes through a rift and they rescue her, and it's Mariner. But not our Mariner. No, that would be too simple. It's a Mariner who's an engineer who's risk averse. A Mariner who's risk averse. Yeah, that's definitely an alternative reality. But it does give Boimler some comfort having somebody he's somewhat familiar with, despite her not being as risk-averse as Mariner. William Boimler is familiar with. There's a lot of other small little things. Should I even mention the crew is all 90% Harry Kims? Yeah, Harry Kims. And they also rescue another Harry Kim in this episode, who happens to be a lieutenant. Unfortunately, he's a bit salty that the other Kims haven't been promoted yet. Yeah. So they go on an adventure, and they eventually find the ship that's been creating the rifts. And what they realize is, and thanks to Mariner, that I should mention this Mariner is wearing gold. So clearly, I kind of wish they'd done this with Mariner who stayed promoted way back, I think in season 1, where Captain Freeman tried to trick Mariner into requesting a transfer by promoting her. They should have done that one, because that would have been a neat in-joke into the show. But still, having a Mariner who's risk-averse is very different, so a later on scene is much more impactful because of that. But anyhow, I believe it was Mariner who figures out that what's happening is they're going into the wrong rifts. Because of conservation of energy. For once, they're using a real scientific concept, not just random technobabble. Technobabble is clearly a thing in this episode as well, but I'm just saying they are using a real concept for once. Basically, when the rift that the people are opening the rifts are, well, guess what's going on? Another rift is being created because of energy conservation, so Boimler and his crew have been going through the wrong rifts every single time. But eventually they're able to do technobabble stuff and able to meet up with the ship. They fire on it because, well, they think this person's doing it intentionally, and they are, but not maliciously. And we find out, but first they both crash on a planet, and they're arrested by the native population, who are described as feral, of a species that's normally not violent. And they figure out that the ship that they're chasing after, well, they're explorers too, but instead of exploring strange new worlds, they're exploring strange new universes. Which is a neat little switch on that formula. It also ties up with William Boimler's character because he's sick of multiverses. Many of us in, I think, lots of properties are kind of sick of multiversal storytelling, even though it's still kind of new, but reboots and all that, that's a form of multiverse, and we are kind of sick of that stuff. And this episode has this message that It's fun to explore minute differences in our stories, or in us, in humanity. That's how they phrase it. But it also has this meta-narrative about basically, you can explore different things and see how things work as things are just so slightly differently. People who do alternative history, it varies. Some people are very much, they're doing it because they want to create a world that's perfect to their ideology and all that. But some people do it because they're legitimately interested in how cause and effect impacts history, and thought experiments in alternative history, or what ifs, is how they explore that, which can be very great for fiction storytelling, but we do need to keep a sense of ourselves about things. I just need to put that out there because, unfortunately, the alternate history community has a lot of tankies and a lot of right-wingers in it, unfortunately, who, they are using alternate history to justify their ideology rather than exploring how things work if things are ever so slightly different in cause and effect and all that. People who do it properly, they do a good job because they understand it's a thought experiment in cause and effect analysis rather than in wish fulfillment. Just gotta put that out there. But when we go outside of that, all our different represents, a lot of them are different takes. Let's just take the DuckTales 2017 series. I have the reviews of almost every episode on my channel, so if you want to check that out, I'll link the playlist up in the cards. But that is a different take on DuckTales, the original 80s, on different take on the comics, but more inspired by the comics than the 80s series was. But it is still different, and basically a big thing that made a difference. What if we gave Huey, Dewey, and Louie actual personalities? And from there, a lot of other stuff too. But the point is, it is a different take, and it's a very enriching take, very exciting take. And sometimes, though, you will have things that will seem like a lazy rehash. And I think this episode does have some commentary against the lazy rehash, that if you are going to tell stories with different universes and all that, make it mean something. Don't just copy an existing property, existing show, just to make an easy buck. You need to do something with it, to tell a story that means something to the creators, but also the audiences as well, besides money, money, money. I don't know how much of that was intentional, but that's definitely the read I got on this episode. But I do need to mention, so they and the crew that's exploring the multiverse say reconcile. Well, they're exploring the multiverse in a different way, but the crew who's specifically doing it, and by the way, is Lady Stone, so the person who was working with Zephyr Cochrane in First Contact. Instead of making warp drives led by Cochrane, they're making multiversal transport drives or something led by Sloan. So very neat kind of twist on that how, yes, these two individuals are still working together, but because one's taking a different lead, they end up doing something different, which is just really reinforces my point where you can do these different takes, but it needs to mean something. And the idea that, well, if this person took lead, would they have developed a different kind of method of travel? Very interesting. They're also wearing Enterprise Zero uniforms as well, so I like that too. But there's more going on. Harry Kim, the one who's lieutenant, steals the ship that can travel through the multiverse. He steals it and he tricks all the other Kims with him because he wants to take them all to his universe where they can actually be promoted. And the other Kims are like, what are you doing? We can see why this Kim got promoted. Janeway needed to placate him so he didn't take over the Voyager. I think that's what's going on there. But Harry Kim does deserve promotion. But at the same time, it's like the other Kims, they're content because they're in Starfleet, they're doing what they love. The promotion would just been a neat bonus. But this Kim, the Kim who tricks them and steals the ship, he's there for the rank. He's not there for exploration, and he's thus unstable. And of course, he accidentally starts destroying the multiverse because the ship is damaged, and he doesn't realize that, and he literally calls out technobabble. Well, he should have listened because he's dead, and the multiverse is going to be destroyed. But they do have a solution. The solution is they have to sacrifice one universe. Basically channel all the multiverse destroying energy into one universe, and that should be enough to save the rest of the multiverse. So William Boimler decides he's going to sacrifice his universe. I did have this thought though. Set into a universe taken over by the Borg, or a universe devoid of life, but you would need to know what those universes are in order for that to be a possibility. Though, does William Boimler not know about the incident with the multiple enterprises? I feel like he should have. I honestly, with in the episode Parallels, I feel like he should have known that stuff, especially the one with the multiple enterprises and that are racing. No, I feel like he should have, because he should know of at least one, but alas, he doesn't. He thought there was Milner thought there was only two, I believe. Or Kim. One of them. But regardless, they figured it out, but that would have been a better universe to send into because it's practically a dystopia anyhow, but the reason why he chose his universe is because he knows his twin, our Brad Boimler, should be able to solve it as long as he doesn't panic. Cuts to the Cerritos, and I should say the episode actually opens up with our lower deckers talking and all that, and basically William Boimler is mentioned, and they all believe that he died, and basically Boimler is wondering what kind of ventures he could have gotten into, and then cuts to the main episode, but then cuts back after William Boimler, who's the captain by the way, makes that decision, and guess what our Boimler does? Panics. Just like William Boimler said, as long as he doesn't do it, they'll be fine. He panics. Granted, getting a message from your transporter clone twin who you thought was dead, that probably contributed to Boimler's panic. But I do kind of hope like Talin or something takes a look at that and gives a more rational thing, and then they go tell Freeman, and they hopefully put all the resources together. And speaking of putting resources together, I suspect putting resources together will be a part of the season finale. The previous episode was basically about seeing what the captain, what the senior officers, what the upper decks on the Cerritos actually get to. And I think that's to reinforce that the season finale, whatever it will be, I have no idea, is somehow going to bring them truly together in a way that way they can work together to solve the crisis. Granted, even I kind of had hoped that they wouldn't have gone too much multiversal ending stuff or just universe ending stuff in Lower Decks, but I do like how they did it, how they tied it in with character development. William Boimler, well not our Boimler, basically learns to appreciate the multiverse and how you can explore differences, minute but things that are still the same. The alternative Milner, well, she's risk-averse, but she takes a big risk in increasing the gravity around the warp core so they could actually successfully perform a micro-jump despite the dangers of it. She took that risk even though she was personally risk-averse. So a little bit of the Milner we know is in her. And so then the episode cuts back to our characters, and I think the biggest impact the story, Milner's gotten most of her development, but it's now time for her development, all the development that Boimler got in the last little bit that he needs to be the Starfleet officer he envisions himself truly as. That, I think, is what going to come in the finale. Tendi, Rutherford, Talin, they're all going to have their moments, I'm sure, as well. Hopefully bring every character arc that we saw over the 5 seasons of Lower Decks to a satisfying conclusion. Of course, those are just my thoughts on the episode, and my thoughts on what's going to come next and how things are going to connect together. I could be totally wrong, but I want to hear from you. Let's explore the possibilities. What you thought of this episode, what you think is going to happen next in the comment section down below. Let's explore strange new worlds. Let's explore strange new universes. And of course, live long and prosper. Oh man, I forgot to talk about a few other things. I should mention that Dr. Garrick, which is Dr. Ilham Garrick, and then holographic Dr. Bashir, not only are they married, but apparently Garrick likes arguing. That kind of fits for him, and that he knows combat and all that, which shows that he's not just a simple doctor, just like he clearly wasn't a simple tailor. And should also mention that Curzon Dax dies, but T'Pol decides to use a mind meld to take his Katra back to his universe. Hopefully they'll be able to do that. So the entire Curzon and all of Dax's memories are now being held inside T'Pol. Thankfully she's a Vulcan, but I do kind of feel like that was subtly paralleling basically Dr. McCoy getting Spock's catcher in the Wrath of Khan. And it's also interesting watching their bickering dynamic, but they were really friends. He just liked to bicker. I decided to mention that stuff because there's a lot of other stuff there as well, but I just had to mention this. So now that's where I'm truly going to end. Comment sections down below for any thoughts you may have, and like I said earlier, live long and prosper. Thank you for watching my video. I do hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please be sure to give this video a like and share. Also, consider subscribing to my channel to stay up to date on all my latest content. In the meantime, thank you for watching, and as always, have a good day, a good night, wherever you are. May the force be with you always.